Welcome, friends. I hope you have been having some fun sewing projects recently and alterations, maybe experimenting with some of your clothes, making things work for you that you wouldn't have otherwise thought of doing. And I hope this is a little inspiration to you to think outside the box about what you can do to items that you aren't wearing and how you can change them into something that you love. So, this is a vintage dress that the client wants separated into a skirt and kind of more of a crop top. This is really actually not a super challenging alteration, but it's going to give you a totally different look for your clothing, which means that if it fits your style more, then you're going to wear it more often. Win win, you don't have to buy another outfit, and it's more sustainable to do something productive with what you have and make it fit back into your wardrobe, your regular cycle of wear. So, before I get too much further, it'd be super helpful to my channel if you like and subscribe so that I keep my channel going and others who sew can be inspired to transform their clothing, to make, to mend, and to alter the things that they aren't wearing. Okay, so now I have this out on the cutting table. And just want to take a quick look at these seams. So it is factory made, the vintage factory made in the USA. But look at this. This is literally like what we would use to make patterns now. You even see the little notching right here, which is pretty common for, regular home patterns. And there's no serged seam. So I just thought, that's really interesting in terms of, I'm not sure what year this garment was made, but obviously, many, many years ago in the factories, they weren't using all the serge seams. And compared to fast fashion, this was a really well-made piece. So first I was trying to determine how wide I wanted the waistband to be. And I think I'd like to try and keep this buttonhole. So if I want to keep that buttonhole, let's see what it looks like. But to keep the buttonhole, I need to even a little bit, because what's going to happen is that this is going to fold backwards. And I would like to have a little bit to tuck under the seam. Or I could just actually go ahead and serge it, and that would be a fine solution as well if I didn't want to use the extra fabric there. But I am going to want approximately, so this is 3¼ inches to be able to fold down into the waistband. And that's going to make this crop top fall right about here. So just want to make sure that's not too high up on the bust line when I take it over to the mannequin. So actually we're going to change our minds a little bit here, because I feel like once I turn this under and turn this up, we're going to have a pretty big midriff section, and I'm not sure if that's going to be a little bit too much. So I brought some fabric over that I already had, and I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is kind of make a use this as a facing. So rather than cutting way up here at the 3¼ mark, I'm going to bring it down and cut it at the 2½ mark, because I want to be able to hide this fabric as well. in this seam. Yeah, so let's do the 2.5 mark. What I'm going to do is just go along and measure and notch that 2.5. And here you'll notice that it's starting to taper up into a wider bodice. So these seams, we may have to adjust them slightly so that the top is the same width as the waistband. Oops, that one's off a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and actually cut my line right off. So right across here. Straight across. And now I need to go and iron this up as well so that it's all going to face upward, and then we can fold it over and close up that seam. Now, we'll even notice here, so all of this you can tell is bigger than this waistband here. So what we could do is put a little bit of darts, a few darts in here. Trying to make them symmetrical. Okay. So we're going to form those darts so that when this folds down, it'll be the same width as that original waistband. Or not, this isn't a waistband, the waist seam there. Now for this one, to finish it off, I'm literally just going to iron up and turn under and just create a narrow edge seam here. And that's what we're going to do to finish off the bottom of the crop top. Now over here at the iron, first I'm going to go ahead and iron this up. pressing that. Straight up. There we go. So that's nice and flat. And this is my extra piece that I'm going to use. Make sure that it's long enough, actually. Oh, perfect. It is long enough. Great. So, as sewists, we're allowed to change our mind just a little bit, right? I'm thinking to myself that this is trimmed out in a white, so rather than use this blue, I'm going to use a white facing. So here's some white. I just think it'll look cleaner rather than a funky color of blue. But for the most part, when I'm doing alterations, I do try to find something that I already have in stock, little, pieces or scraps that rather than wasting and going out to buy something new for if it's for something like this. Of course, if it needs to be matched exactly, then I'm absolutely going to do that. For now, I'm going to cut a 3-inch wide piece. I may need to make it a little bit smaller, but I can always trim off the excess after I'm done. So here's a piece of tailor's chalk. There we go. Just a little bit longer. Let's tackle the top. Move this out of the way. To the top, I am just going to measure. I fold and iron up like this. Before I finish my folds, what I want to do is make sure that it's the same length on both sides. Yeah, it is. And just a reminder, I do have a couple of classes over at Udemy trying to build that selection for you for hemming, jacket zippers, just basic sewing machine. And I believe I have one on waistband repairs. So now this is all set. And I can take this piece over to the machine. And while I'm at the machine, I'm also going to add the darts to this one. All right, so I already have it all threaded in the color that I need. And then this right over here. Now I want to go a little bit further this way so that I make sure to catch all the fabric. So I'm going to just move my needle over a little bit. There we go. and then go right along this edge. There we go. It gave me a little trouble starting up as it caught right there on the thickness of the seam. And this is a push to start machine. It does have a foot pedal, but I have gotten used to just using the push to start feature for it. Great, that's a really nice seam there. I'm very pleased with that. And I just need to cut this little bits of thread out of there. And then we're going to come over here and do those darts. So on the outside, it's going to look like that. Of course, it's going to be folded down anyway. And this will make it so that the waistband isn't like gapping open, because this waist will go kind of along the hollow of the wearer's back. So it's definitely narrower than, say, the hip area. So now I am ready to attach this white piece of fabric. So I do want to go all the way in, or at least partially into this fold over here. So that when it folds down, yes, perfect. And when I'm doing that, I do have to be careful so that I don't get caught in the corner. So let's see. No, my bad. I don't even need it that far over. Instead, I'm just going to put it over in this area and start. So I'd rather film my mistakes as I'm doing something, because it gives you the idea that, as you're doing alterations, there aren't any directions. And so then you have to kind of process them as you go along. And every item is constructed differently. So here I am filming and making a total fool of myself because I'm doing it on the wrong side. What on earth was I thinking? I need my right sides together, and I was stitching on the inside. So that's why it wasn't making any sense to me either. All right, so I'm going to do it a little bit here on the corner. You can just disregard that whole section. All right, so now I'm going to start. Yeah, that's kind of funny that I was stitching on the wrong side. I'm just lining it up with the edge of the needle, at the edge of the pressure foot. So I took this over to the iron and didn't have time to move the camera. I shouldn't say that, but, and ironed it down so that here's the top of my waistband. And I trimmed it out around the buttonhole because there was the fold over. And now what I'm going to do is most of my pins are actually on the outside because I want to stitch a really nice, neat stitch, white stitch right along here and right along here so that it'll really fall in line with the accent of this design already. And so, you know, that's one of the things that I personally enjoy doing, is trying to at least get some of the flavor or the taste of the original piece when you're sewing a new one. So here I am just stitching along that edge. First, you want to make sure everything's nice and neat and smooth. And I do encourage you to sign up for my newsletter just bi-weekly. I promise I won't try and spam you, but it always has the latest videos, any deals that I'm offering, just some fun stuff, easy to get to know you better. It's my fun reads. I always like to listen to audiobooks when I am sewing. It's one of my favorite things to do. In fact, currently I am listening to the audiobook Outliers. I'm trying to think of the name of the author. Malcolm? Maybe that's right. And another one that I listened to recently was 1,000 Gifts by Anne Voskamp, which is just such a great reminder to be thankful in everything and find the joy and the beauty and in all the things that we do. There, so just look how nice and neat that is. I really like that look. Now I'm going to go along the lower edge, which is not more challenging, but I do want to stitch it from the outside. So making sure that everything is laying flat underneath is really important. And my industrial machine would press through this really well. But on home machines, when you do have a bulk of seams coming together, obviously sometimes it hesitates just a little bit. The machine doesn't like to work as hard. Here I probably have 4 to 5 layers of fabric in this seam because the original, and then this one. Then we'll be done with this alteration.
Thank you for watching. You can shop tutorials and classes on my website, naomifeda.net. Be sure to like and subscribe. And as always, may God sow his love into your heart today.